So I got into about 20 of my colleges and I posted my college decisions 2 months ago, and I feel like I haven't really made a follow-up video, and a bunch of you guys have been asking on my social media and my comment section which university am I actually attending, and this is gonna answer that all. Before we start with the video, I have a quick e-guide down below for free which will help you decide your college or your college list and actually pick the right college for you. So make sure to go get that, and whilst you're down there, make sure to subscribe or like if you want to see more videos like this. Now back to the video. So I got into 20 colleges and I'm just gonna rule all of them out quickly before I decide and show you guys how I actually made my decision. The first three that I ruled out were Goldsmiths, Leeds and Penn State. Now these were just because these were my safeties. Goldsmiths and Leeds are actually just filled in because the UCAS requires you to put 5 options and I only wanted to apply to 3. After that, I ruled out University of Arts London, King's and University College of London, UCL. Those were because I was just not going to the UK. I decided that I wanted to go to the US instead, and it just made no sense like going to the UK because I changed my major like around like 8-9 times. Then Emerson was a safety, and they also admitted me for spring, which is kind of offensive, but yeah, wasn't gonna go to Emerson anyway, so it's all chill. And then the new school university, UCSC, so Santa Cruz, Davis and University of California, San Francisco, those were my targets, but I did get scholarships, but I decided to rule them out because I was just not gonna attend those universities, and I just put them as targets because they were just in case I didn't get into my universities of my dreams. The new school, like Parsons specifically, was actually one of my dream schools, but then I visited, and let me tell you, visiting campuses makes such a big difference because when I visited the new school in Parsons, I realized that I was definitely not gonna attend there, like no offense or anything, but it was just like not the vibe for me, like New York in general, I would say. And then UC San Diego and Boston University were other targets for me, which I just didn't want to attend. Even though Boston University is really well known for my program, I visited and I just didn't really like it. Wasn't my university. I don't know how to explain it. UT Austin was actually the first university I got into because I think I applied like priority or something like that without knowing, and then they gave me my decision 1 month earlier than I expected, and I got into the scholars program as well, or like the honors program, and it was very selective, so I was almost debating going to UT Austin as soon as I got in, but then my brother was like, you know, like just wait for your other results to come out and then we'll cross the bridge when we get there, which I should have listened to him because as soon as I got into my other unis, it was just like ruled out immediately. Also for the fact that it's a public school and I didn't want to go to a public school. Then we have NYU. The thing with NYU is that first of all, the thing is it doesn't have a campus, so that was one major put off for me. The location was New York, which I didn't really like after I visited last October, and also I would just like to put a disclaimer out there that this video is not to brag about any university I got into. It's just like an honest sit down and talk with me about like why I chose my university and the universities I got into and why I'm not going there, so maybe you can make a better informed decision to whichever university you plan on attending. I would also say that I was almost going to ED2 to NYU actually after I visited, but then I realized that the campus thing really was a put off for me because I visited NYU on like one of the first days I was in New York, and then after experiencing New York for a while, I realized that this was not my city to stay in, but it's fine because my best friend's going to NYU, so I'll be crashing at his anytime soon. And then I also got into WashU St. Louis, which is very well renowned and it's a really good university, but for me it's not really known for the major, and I feel like I had other colleges that I got into before WashU, even though WashU is very highly ranked, like I said before. And then we move on to the 4 universities. So this is actually like where the dilemma started for me. This was USC, which has been my dream for a very long time, and my brother actually attended USC. That's why my college decisions video when I got into USC was a big thing for me because I've been manifesting it for like a really long time. I wore this one USC jacket to school like every day for the past for my junior and senior year, so 11th and 12th grade, and it was just like a dream come true basically. My brother actually attended USC and he just graduated from USC as an undergrad in finance, so I don't know, it was just like a dream for me to go to USC, and once I got in I was thrilled. But then came Ivy Day, and Ivy Day just surprised me completely because I got into Brown, Dartmouth and Duke. Duke's not an Ivy, it's an Ivy Plus, but I still got into Brown and Dartmouth, and it was a proper shock for me because my mom was always like, yeah, you'll get into Brown, like Brown will be lucky to have you and stuff like that. But like obviously your mom's gonna be supportive and stuff like that. But for me, actually getting into like these colleges made me like rethink my decision, and I was like spiraling for like a good like 2-3 weeks, I would say, after I got my Ivy League results. There were like my parents' friends telling me one thing, my friends were like, are you crazy, why aren't you taking Brown, or like you're such a USC person, or like whatever. But like at the end of the day, I realized it is my decision, and from that I ruled out Duke and Dartmouth solely, not solely for the reason, but one of the major reasons was location. I feel like location wise, Duke and Dartmouth aren't in really like city places, and they're somewhat isolated or secluded. And of course I have no grudge against any of those like states or cities or places, but for me it was just not gonna work out completely, because besides your uni life, your city is extremely important, I would say, and that's something that pushed me more towards either considering Brown and USC. And I feel like I had told my friends that Brown was one of the only unis I would consider over USC if I got in. And when it actually happened, then I actually had to make like a proper like checklist. The major I got into at Brown is called Modern Culture and Media, and that was one thing that I chose USC over Brown in that category, at least for the sole reason that Brown's curriculum goes more into the history of media or the films and like the industry, whereas USC goes more into like the social media marketing, digital marketing, and like things that I actually want to get into and things that are relevant to the current date. I'm not saying that Brown's major is absolutely ridiculous or anything like that, but just USC in that sense just like was just better for me. And of course I have visited Brown and USC, and Brown just in general, like I liked USC's vibes way more. I'll get into all of those details way later on, but I think from that you can understand that I chose USC over Brown, and it was a very controversial decision. And when I revealed it, I think some people were like surprised, some people were shocked, some people felt betrayed, but I realized that it was my decision at the end of the day. And these are all the factors that I put into account. The first factor is understanding the major, researching your major, your course, your curriculum, and everything that has to do with the education, because obviously you're going to study, you're not going to just have fun and do whatever the hell you want. The major itself, so USC Annenberg, which is the school I got into, the communication school, is #1 in the US for like communications and PR and advertising and journalism and everything. So that was one thing that I was like, okay, it's my dream school, and it's also like #1 for its major, and it's #2 in the world. So I feel like that was like a very sensible decision for me to take USC over Brown. And also like the fact that USC also has like other top ranked schools. So for me, I changed my major like 8 to 9 times, and that's why I chose the US in the first place. And USC is just like, they have a wide variety of majors, which is something I really like, where Brown really limits them. And USC is actually well known for most of the majors that I wanted to get into, because I was almost going to go into the arts field and go into design, and USC is #2 for design. And for me, that was something that just, I had that like comfort of, in case something goes wrong and I want to go back to like design, or like, which I don't think is very likely. But I feel like USC in that way made more sense for me. I'm planning to double major in PR and advertising, as well as like game production or like game development and interactive design. So I feel like USC is perfect for that, because they have 2 of the majors I really, really like, and it's very specific, and no other school really offers this, because this is like USC's game development or game design like program or like major is just like less coding and more into like the aspect of creating the video game, which I'm really excited for. And it also has a really good dance program, which I was going to minor in dance, so like it made sense for me to go to USC in that aspect. Next, I decided to factor into account the university in general. One thing is that some people were saying to take Brown or the Ivy League because of the name, and having the Ivy network in general is really powerful and opens up a lot of opportunities, which I have I understand that completely, but I'm not gonna put myself through like an education system for like 4 years just for the name, and I actually need to consider the university in general, which I think is very important and crucial into making your decision. I didn't want to go to Brown just for the heck of it and just for the name and just to get like all the opportunities open up for me, and I'd rather go to like USC, where I would get like a better experience or like benefit from the major itself and educate myself so well in that, because USC's course is so well renowned and it's something that I would actually be passionate about learning, that I chose USC in that sense. However, Brown also had the open curriculum, which I thought was way better than the general education system at USC, because USC has like 10 requirements that you have to do. Like you'll have to do like a writing class, you'll have to do like, you know, like a quantitative reasoning class, like a math class, a science class, human sciences. You know, you have those like general education requirements. But for me, my major is really what mattered the most to me, and it was like getting like, it was like jack of all trades in Brown, or like be like the king of one in USC. I don't know if that like logic makes sense, but like that's the logic I used, I guess. The uni in general as well, like the campus and location. So the location was something that really put me off about Brown, because I really hate the cold. And like to bear the cold for like the entire year, especially being in like Providence, like Rhode Island, you're really like gonna be, you know, having to like suit up for like the winter months at least, and like it's not gonna be like an easy like walk in the park. Whereas in USC I can wear like shorts, I can wear t-shirts, I can just like go everywhere, and obviously it's gonna get like a little chilly in some months, but at the same time like I prefer that so much more. Like having the sun is just something that I'm so used to in Bombay that I just want the same vibes in LA. I also wanna talk about clubs and extracurriculars. Obviously I'm into dance and aerial silks, and this is where Brown actually had the upper hand, in the sense that Brown actually has an aerial silks club where they actually like have performances and rehearsals and training and workshops and stuff like that. And aerial silks is a huge part of my life, but I realized that I would be able to give that up for USC, where I can like take those classes in LA or join a competitive dance team instead, because LA is great for dance, and LA is like, you know, USC is also great for dance. So I feel like I would be fine, you know, sacrificing that aspect of my life to be so convenient to be in Brown, like be in the university itself, and rather take like classes outside if I really do miss my aerial silks. So that was how I decided to like, you know, take whatever Brown was good at and like try to transfer it into USC in my own way, even though it's not as good. The next thing is the location, in the sense that my major is about like media and like social media, like just in general like influencers campaigns, advertising and stuff like that. I feel like LA is like the perfect hub for that. And don't get me wrong, like Rhode Island's like an amazing place, and like Providence was like nice, but it was really not my vibe. Like location for me, I just like weather wise, vibes wise, and just everything like collectively, I just chose like LA and Hollywood, where I can like act, sing, dance, like aerial silks, like everything. I just thought LA was like perfect for me in that sense. And then coming to the next point, which is lifestyle, I feel like I have the perfect mindset to be able to balance both like a social life, or like someone who has like fun as well as like academics. And USC is like somewhat of a party school, so I would say that I would be able to balance that and have that opportunity to like socialize and like have fun. Not saying that Brown doesn't have parties and stuff like that, but I feel like USC is someplace that I would really enjoy having fun and like partying, going out to LA, going, you know, like to like shopping, or like going downtown or whatever. I feel like LA would be like perfect for me in that sense. I would also like to talk about personal bias now, which was one of the last factors I considered. First of all, my brother just graduated from USC, and having like, he's been there, so like he has like a lot of knowledge and experience about USC, and if I have any questions, I have like my personal contact. My brother's friends also who are doing a master's, or like they're continuing their majors at USC right now, so like obviously they're gonna be there as like my comfort. And obviously like universities to like explore and find like a new facet of your like of yourself, and find and like become a new person, I guess that's what a lot of people say or whatever. But I feel like having that comfort is extremely important, and that was what I found with like my brother and his friends. And obviously I've visited the campus several times, like 2-3 times at least, and it just felt like home already. Like I've been thinking of USC as my dream school since like 9th or 10th grade, and it just like felt like it was like the right decision for me to make. It was like an intuitive decision, and I wanted to trust my gut, and my gut like led me towards USC. And also I've like grown up watching like all these YouTubers in LA, and like, you know, being like a content creator in LA, and like going to like Big Bear, or like going on like random trips, or like to VidCon, or to like Disneyland or whatever. I know that's like not as like firm, like as like a strong factor, but it's something that I would take into account, or I did take into account. And I think that's something you should as well, like take like a personal bias, or like some comfort that you have towards that city or that location, because it does like matter. At the end of the day, you are going and studying there for 4 years, nobody else is. Comes to my last point, is that saw myself at both USC and Brown at the end of 4 years, and I felt like I would thrive way more at USC, and that's why I just thought that USC was like the best possible fit for me. And I think that that's like, you shouldn't let everybody else influence your opinion so much that it drastically changes your perspective on your university, and that research, intuition, and just understanding that you have to like university is like an individual journey in the sense that you have to pick your university and your family's not going to be with you, and like people who are telling you to pick this university, they're not going to be with or without you. Like they're not going to be with you at university to take your classes, to be in that city, to live that life. So it completely be your decision. Even if you have like external people helping you out, please base it off of what you would actually prefer if you have it in your hands. And yeah, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys like my college reveal. Let me know if you have any other video suggestions, and hopefully I will be uploading once a week at least. Follow me on Instagram for any more updates, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.